I am at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, and while I'm here, Apple just announced the iPhone 17e. So here are 15 things you should know before buying. First off, while the iPhone 17e gets a few nice upgrades over the iPhone 16e, the biggest change that we were hoping for, the Dynamic Island, is nowhere to be seen. Every single leak that we've seen online, even from trusted sources, have mentioned the Dynamic Island, but nope, we still have that notch. And I'm a bit disappointed, especially since the iPhone 17e actually uses the exact same 6.1-inch display as the iPhone 16e. So no upgrade in brightness, no Dynamic Island, and no thinner bezels. And obviously no 120Hz. But hey, even without a newer or upgraded display, our wallpapers would still look amazing. Luminous Lines, for example, by our designer Arif, features these oscillating gradient waves, which look so clean on your phone, tablet, and even on your desktop. And Sailing Ships by Cheese lets you set sail across a bunch of landscapes and boats in super high 8K quality. My favorite one is definitely this yacht in the city in blue. So check out these designs and so many more at Wallpapers for iOS and Android by using the links below. Number 2, more storage. Apple actually raised the minimum storage of the iPhone 17e to 256 gigabytes, just like they did back in September with the base iPhone 17. And what's even better is that they did not increase the price, as it still starts at $599. For a bit of context, the 256 gigabyte version of the iPhone 16e was actually $699 at launch. And I honestly wasn't expecting a storage upgrade, especially on a budget iPhone. And definitely not now, when the RAM and storage prices have skyrocketed. At number 3, we have MagSafe, because yes, Apple listened, and they finally added it to their budget iPhone. That was such a big omission on the iPhone 16e, so I'm glad that we finally have it here. That also means that wireless charging is now twice as fast, at 15 watts as opposed to 7.5 on the iPhone 17e. It's still not the super fast 25 watt MagSafe charging of the iPhone 17 and 17 Pro, but it is a solid upgrade. And speaking of MagSafe, the official Apple and Beats, yes, Beats makes iPhone cases too, they finally come with MagSafe magnets included. Fun fact, the iPhone 16e official cases were the only ones that came without any magnets, and you had to buy third-party cases if you wanted MagSafe alignment magnets. This is probably why the price of the silicone case also went from $39 on the iPhone 16e to $49 on the iPhone 17e, or $45 for the Beats variant. Now, on top of that, we're also getting a few new colors on the existing iPhone 17 and 17 Pro cases, such as Bright Guava, Vanilla, and Electric Lavender. At number 5, while physically the iPhone 16e and 17e look pretty much the same, and they also have the exact same dimensions, the iPhone 17e is actually 2 grams heavier, probably due to the included MagSafe magnets. You probably won't ever notice this weight gain, and I did think at first that it could point to a larger battery as well. But sadly, that is not the case, as Apple's quoted battery life is the same as last year's 16e at 26 hours. Now, I'll be honest, I was expecting at least 1 or 2 extra hours of battery life, somewhere in between the 26 hours of the iPhone 16e and the 30 hours of the iPhone 17, but we didn't get that. Which is weird, especially since we do have a new chip that is technically more efficient than last year's. Which, as the rumors were saying, it is indeed the A19 chip, but with 1 less GPU core compared to the one inside the iPhone 17, or 2 less compared to the iPhone 17 Pro's A19 Pro chip. But yeah, you probably won't ever notice that missing GPU core unless you're playing some graphically intensive games. But even so, this display is still a 60Hz panel, so this GPU is definitely more than powerful enough for 60 FPS gaming. However, these new GPU cores actually come with neural accelerators built in for improved AI performance, just like the regular A19, A19 Pro, and the brand new M5 chip, which means that you'll be able to play all of those AAA mobile titles on the iPhone 17e probably with ease. But anyway, double binning, the GPU is exactly what Apple did last year with the iPhone 16e, and it was perfectly fine for most users, especially at this price point. Fun fact, the CPU performance is twice as fast as an iPhone 11, which I know it's very old, but it is a phone that a lot of people are likely to be upgrading from. Speaking of chips, at number 8, we have the new C1X chip from the iPhone Air. This is an upgrade over last year's C1 chip, and it should be more power efficient and offer more battery life, although not according to Apple's 26-hour battery life quote. But hey, at least it's twice as fast as the C1 chip. Although, on the other hand, there is no N1 chip like the new iPhone 17 series, as the iPhone 17e still comes with Wi-Fi 6, not even Wi-Fi 6E, by the way. At number 9, we have another small upgrade, which is focus control on portrait mode. Although, I'm pretty sure that the 16e did allow you to change focus after the fact as well. Still, the fact that Apple's calling this next generation portrait matching the iPhone 17 naming scheme means that we should see some better results here. And since we're talking about the camera, by the way, this is still the same camera as before on both the back and the front. This means that we don't get that really cool center stage camera that we got on the iPhone 17 series, where you can change between portrait orientation and landscape without having to rotate your phone. And we also don't get a larger sensor. So the sensor on the iPhone 17e is actually the smallest in the entire iPhone 17 series, smaller than the iPhone 17 and smaller than the 17 Pro, despite having the same 48 megapixel resolution. So this camera is not going to be great in low light with very minimal depth of field as well. At number 11, we have a new color called Soft Pink. So I'm really happy to see that Apple's finally adding a third color rather than just black and white on the iPhone. Although, it's not the color that I would pick from, but it's still nice to have the option of an extra one. At number 12, we have the new Ceramic Shield 2 screen. And I'll be honest, this is quite a big upgrade from the first generation Ceramic Shield. David from my team has actually been using his iPhone Air without a screen protector for the past 3 months. I have not been as brave as he has been. And he still doesn't have a single scratch on his display, not even the tiniest one. And according to Zach from Jerry Rig Everything, this is quite a big upgrade indeed, as it only starts scratching at a level 7 with deeper grooves of a level 8. So thumbs up to Apple for not using the cheaper first-gen Ceramic Shield on their cheapest iPhone. So when can you get your hands on it? Well, the pre-orders start on the 4th of March, and they will likely be shipping from the 11th of March. But should you get one? Well, I don't think it's a terrible deal, especially since it starts at 256 gigabytes now, but I would still probably look for a refurbished iPhone 15 Pro, iPhone 16, or even an iPhone 16e for around the same price, if not even less. Although you should keep in mind that all of those start at only 128 gigabytes of storage. But what about other budget options like the Google Pixel 10a or the Samsung Galaxy S25 FE? Well, if you take a look at what Google did with the Pixel 10a, it's basically the same phone as the Pixel 9a with not even a chip upgrade. And I gotta say, I'm quite disappointed with the direction that the budget smartphone market seems to be heading towards with all these minimal effort upgrades. Here's a fun fact: if you upgrade a Pixel 10a to 256 gigabytes, it actually matches the iPhone 17e in terms of price at $599. The iPhone 17e does have a much faster CPU and GPU along with MagSafe support, but it misses out on the ultra-wide camera and the larger battery that the Pixel 10a offers. Plus, the Pixel 10a has a 120Hz display that's also noticeably brighter. As for the S25 FE, that one actually costs $50 less, but it offers so much more. You get a much better main camera, you get a telephoto and ultra-wide lens as well, and a significantly better display that's brighter, 120Hz, always on, and all of that. So which one would you guys go for? But there you go, that's the brand new iPhone 17e. I think it's a solid option if you don't look at the Android alternatives. I'm disappointed that we did not get the Dynamic Island, we did not get a larger battery, or at least Wi-Fi 6E, especially since the iPhone 17e still uses Wi-Fi 6, a standard that dates back from 2019. But what do you guys think? Would you pick the iPhone 17e for $599, or would you go for a refurbished iPhone, or the Pixel 10a, or maybe something new like the brand new Nothing Phone 4a? Let me know down below. As always, check out our app Wallpapers for some awesome designs. I'm Daniel, this is ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.